Alright, so we are recording. So yesterday we started what we call logo and branding. Alright, so logo and branding. And all we've been learning so far has been bringing us closer to this place. Alright, where we learned how to use the pick tool, how to use the shape tool, box and stuff. So before we created these icons that we were able to create on our previous video, if you have not watched it, go and watch the video and you see how we created these icons. All right. So we studied about what logos are, and we were able to say that logos are like, let's say, we said logos are like the face of a brand. All right. So what people see before they patronize your brand. So the logo most times sometimes speaks about the brand through hidden messages, like you see in these logos. We haven't created a rationale today in class. I think the first thing we'll do is we'll create a rationale, and I will teach you how I create rationale around brands, but it will still be with our own ideas. All right. So for we to create this brand name, we had to need a client. All right. So I told you guys that yesterday, like, before you start designing a logo, you have to definitely have a client, right? Or maybe you are creating a personal project, right? And that client will give you what we call a brief, all right? And since we didn't have a client that was going to give us a brief, we had to make use of AI, and the AI we made use of was Meta AI, right? So Meta AI, I think the message should still be here. Yes. So we asked Meta AI that create a brief on a logo for a tech company, right? So you can do the same whether you want to use ChatGPT or Meta AI. So I prefer using Meta AI most times because it kind of look more human to me. I can explain to him better. And if you're using it on the phone, you can use like voice notes, right? So I will show you that today. I'm going to use the voice notes on my own phone, and when we are creating the rationale, and you see how it's going to respond. So he gave us a rationale on the company name, the industry. So it was a technology industry for tech-savvy individuals and investors. And we asked that what are the logo requirements. It said it should be modern and innovative, scalable for business cards, websites, social media merchandise, and so on and so forth. So we'll not be reading everything. Then the design preference, they wanted like simple yet impactful, abstract. So they wanted an abstract logo or geometric shapes. So that way you could see what we created in the design. We went for like an abstract logo, right? So they said we should avoid cliche like light bulbs and just gears, right? So that was why we didn't see anything like a light or a bulb. But I think that was one we used gear for, because later on, when we asked here that we need like more precise stuff of what they do. So this is like the communication phase, right? Where you communicate with the client and understand properly what they want. So we were told about their services, what they offer, and their tagline. All right, I think I have to copy this. Didn't have this yesterday, so I'll keep this outside here. So that was the tagline they gave to us. So what's the brand essence? They represent innovation expertise. So I asked, why did the brand choose the name? See where this is going. So because the more clearer it is, the more easy it is for you to like come up with the icon, right? So they told us here. Then for TechForge, then I asked them, what kind of icons would you compare to your brand? For example, let's say a shield will represent Forge. So they told us we can go for hammer, anvil, a spark, and the gear that they said wasn't before. They repeated they wanted it back. Then maybe a flame, shield, and compass. So we picked. So I told you that this aspect is where we find names or words that are going to represent the brand. Is called mind mapping. All right. So here we had this. So we they wanted a logo mark that is a standalone and icon. All right. So after all this, the next thing we did was to create a sketch. All right. So the sketch is in our previous video. Let me see if I can get the sketch again for you guys. for those who weren't around. All right. So you can see TechForge, right? This one, you can see the sketch here. Then this other one, TF, we have the sketch here also. Alright, so here we have the sketch for TechForge also. Alright, so for us to be able to sketch, we have to like create like a mood board. Alright, so what is a mood board? We explained that at the beginning of our class, that mood board are like samples of other designers' job, maybe pictures or similar designs that we can bring into our workspace and that give us inspiration before we start a particular design. All right, so this was basically all we did yesterday, and when we created the logos, we had to like make them into various form and send to your group for you to see. So I said today we might select the particular one that we are going to be going for. All right, so here we are. So we are going to like create a simple rationale. Now the first kind of rationale I like to let me bring out, there's a brand we are going to follow. The arrangements now, because I already have like a brand pattern I'm following. Created this. Alright, so let's now break down the idea for this. Alright, so we have like letter T inside of this and letter F, then the shield which represents forge, right? Because shield are like things that they forged, right, using fire and stuff. So that was like the two ideas we used, based on we are creating like an abstract logo. So we have the letter T, T and F. I don't know, my scroller is not working. I need to be using this. So we said letter T and F. Then another thing we used was this, was a shield. Right, so how am I going to like turn this back to a shield? I will basically just draw a box over this and I'll weld it together. Alright, so the moment I've welded, I never really understand why they make these stuff, they appear like this. So we can delete every other aspect which we don't want inside. Like that, I have my shield back again. the reason why we do this is so that the client will be able to like appreciate what we really did and understand it better. We are not just forcing them to like just accept. No, we have to like make them understand why we did what we did. Alright, so something like this. So I'll be placing this on another page. I'll place it after this page, and I'll delete this. Next one would be for this TechForge. So here we have so if you go back to that rationale where we're talking about the icons they think represent their brand. So we have a gear and a spark. So spark suggests creativity, innovation, and the spark of new ideas. Then gear represent the machinery and mechanical technology fitting for a tech company. So these are things that we can bring in together while explaining the brand. All right. So spark and gear. So I'm inserting a page after this. Inserting a page after. So now it'd be like, how do we get our spark back? It's very simple. So we can just break this apart. So if we break, I'll duplicate it. So break cover parts. So I have my spark and my gear.
A question, please.
Yeah, I'm listening.
So, how did you generate the prompt that gave you the brand ideas, the branding ideas? That is for the logo.
Not the branding idea. Like what we did, we have not started branding. It's the logo idea, right? So here's the prompt.
Yeah, the logo.
Yeah, this on WhatsApp. There's Meta AI, right? So I just came to it and said,
yeah.
Here's the prompt I wrote. Create a brief on a logo for a tech company. Just like that. So let's say I might just type create a random brief for, let's say, an hospital logo with the name Medcare. So the moment you just type it, you just wait for it, and it's going to come up with it's thinking. Look at what this guy is doing. He's doing a picture instead. No, I mean a brief. So sometimes it gets confused and give us something else.
Yeah.
Oh my god. How do I explain to this guy? I mean a written brief. A written brief for a company. Oh, not for a company, before he gives me a new one. For the company. I am the logo designer. Sometimes these guys are very dumb. Yeah, here's a written brief. So he comes up with everything you need to know. the project, the company name, the industry is in. So when you're researching, you research around healthcare and hospital. Also target audience, the logo design objective, their design preferences, even the color they want. You can see it here, blue and white. All right. And that's all. Even also the kind of deliverables you are going to give them when you're done. All right. So that's how you basically do it. So in case it gives you pictures like this, you can. These pictures are like ideas, but nah, I don't even like what it's doing. All right. So that's how we generate stuff like that. You can do it on Meta AI or on any AI tool.
Generative AI.
Yeah. But you have to specify that it is words you want. If not, they might give you pictures. All right.
Yeah,
So
you can also use what's it called?
ChatGPT.
Canva. Canva, yeah, that is on ChatGPT.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, but what we need them for now is just to give us our brief. The design mainly, we'll do it by ourselves because I don't think their brain is more. It's not even ready to start designing logos. Most of their logos are trash. So yeah. So if you notice, even in those little stuff we are doing, I'm still maintaining my arrangement of balance and stuff like that. So that was one of the things we look out for also in the brand guide. So apart from just designing the logo, you have to show that you understand arrangements in design also. So it makes it like attractive when the client is looking at it. So this is like part of the rationale, but the rationale doesn't just end here. So it's enough you said, okay, I use a gear and a, what do you say, gear and spark. Well, how does gear and spark explain what the brand does? All right. So we'll soon get to that aspect, and you say I'm going to use AI also. So like I'm going to tell AI my ideas, right? Then it's going to like expand on it. So that's basically what I'm going to do. So that's why I tell most times that the AI is basically there just to help us make our job easier, kind of. So before these AI tools were around, I had to like think of words, a lot of words to like explain my design of what I'm doing. But now we have AI, they can easily, instead of you thinking of the words, AI can help you in fixing up those words together. All right. So this is like a simpler explanation of how the logo was done. But then after that, we'll now move towards explaining it better. So how do we do that? Right. So I'm going to like get the icon on this empty page. Here they will now give it a rationale. Right. So the ideas we used were the shield and letter T and F. Alright. So let me get back to this the icons they gave us. So here's the shield. Alright. So I'm going to use my phone this time instead, because I want to show you how we can use voice notes. So like speak to the AI and hi, I'm creating a rationale for the logo we just finished designing for TechForge. Then this is the first idea. I'll need you to generate like a rationale. So these are my ideas that were implemented on the first logo. Alright. So we use a shield, the circle board pattern. So combines protection and shield with technology. Circuit board, which representing cyber security and innovation. So then we added the letter T and F inside of it. So letter T was like connected to the shield, and letter F was connected to it. So create a rationale around this to explain how this explains the brand. So we'll divide the explanation into, let's say, into three: the shield, the letter T, and the letter F. So let's see what it's going to come up with. So when asking the AI to like expand my ideas, I prefer to use voice notes, because I think if I express myself better with that, it will be able to understand what I'm saying. Can you see that? So here is the explanation. Wow, this guy went over what I even said. I was just looking for just shield, letter T, and F. Well, he says circle board, although he didn't understand my accent. Alright, so here's what we're going to do next. I'm just going to copy this from here, Ctrl C, and come back here, and I'm going to paste it. Alright, so the fonts I'll be using will be the font that we're using for the brand all through, which has been Gilroy. So I might look for Gilroy semi-bold. So I'll separate them. I think it's too big. I'll make it like 16. So with this, when the client gets to this page, they will get to read and say, okay, this is the idea behind what the designer is doing, and to make them understand more if they are going to go for this one, or if this one is passing out the idea that they want for their brand. The shield. Alright. So that's the first one.
A question, please.
Yeah, I'm listening.
Okay, so why are we doing all this? Is it we have to present a document?
This is a brand guide.
Company.
This is a brand guide.
Okay.
So currently, what we are doing is we are creating logo options for the client, right? So that's why most people don't understand why logo designers have to charge much for what they're charging, right? Because they don't just design, or they don't just take icons that were created already. We create new icons, right? And this icon, you can't just give it to the client for them to just accept, right? You have to give them reasons why. What is the idea? Because every brand that was created, the owner of the brand already knows the message they want to pass out, right? So with all these elements that were created, as you can see now, when the brief was read, the client wanted an abstract icon. It's an abstract icon, but it's going to like speak about what the brand represents, right? So we can't just give the icon out and they start using it. So they have to be like an explanation to explain what the logo means. All right. So
So
that's
what's
the,
this called? All of that. What's all of as in
each aspect have different
what's it
name.
called?
This particular aspect is called a brand rationale.
Okay.
Yeah. So you can say a logo rationale. So that's what this particular area is called. So I'm just touching every area from flyers to ID card to how to create a brand identity guide. So depending on what aspect of design you want to like really focus on. But if you focus on being a brand identity designer, you will definitely create flyers, ID card, and business card. So everything in the end kind of work hand in hand together. So I'm going to place the letter T explanation at this point. Yeah, and also it's a document, so when you're done you have to export it as a PDF file. And the last one is letter F. So the areas where you're talking about, you have to like draw a line to explain to the client what parts are you actually talking about. So freehand, so I'm going to like draw like a line like this, and points. I'm going to add an arrow at the edge. So I have to like increase the airline a bit. Yeah. So I'll duplicate this. So they'll see the letter F I'm talking about. So though we didn't add an extra line here because it wasn't really working out right yesterday when we wanted to do that. Then letter T. So I can put an arrow here this time around and remove the one for this. Can name this part instead of brand style guideline. I'll just type logo rationale. Why this one is called logo variation. So I will just let me put this their tagline at the beginning of the page. Right, pressing my eye everywhere I go. Get back to that. So easily I will just copy it because I wouldn't want to like arrange again. So insert page after I paste it, then copy the background of this one, paste and shift page down. So this is a different icon. So I guess this one is just, I think it's two stuff we just use, which is the gear and the
Spark.
gear and the spark. So I'm going to find out from the mind mapping what did we say, what the gear represents. So I'm going to use a voice note again for it. So I said we are creating another rationale. So this time we used a gear and a spark to represent the brand TechForge. So the gear represents the machinery and the mechanics of the technology fitting for a tech company. Then the spark suggests creativity, innovation, and the spark of new ideas. So this spark can be seen at the center of the gear. So we use like a negative space to place the spark in between it. Right, so this is the idea behind the design for TechForge. So create a rationale for these two aspects of the design. So let's see what our guy is going to do. I hope he doesn't give us a picture. So I'll just be taking the gear and the spark, what he has here. Thank you. Your mic is on again. Alright, so I'm copying the gear. Spark. Sorry, boss. Yeah, the phone they ring again. Just flashing. I think this third one will also have T and F, right? So I might copy from this first one. So after we've done all this, we are going to like select like which actual one we are going to use. So everybody should just get ready so that we can now create a brand pattern, brand colors, and then move into creating a business card and a letter heading. If possible, we'll do a ID card for it also today. I'm tilting towards this last one. Oh, this is virtual. Alright. So though we have letter T and F already, but I wouldn't want it to be like the same again. Alright. So I'm going to like go back again and create a new rationale for the last one, which is the final one. So here's the final option for TechForge. As you know, we've been creating so far, and we use the letter T and F in this one, but separate rationale for both, for T and F, and there is a spark in between. So from our brand mind mapping, we're able to like make spark suggest creativity, innovation, and the spark of a new idea, right? And this spark was placed at the center of the T and the F. There's also another thing inside of this mind mapping. There's something called you also pointed out hammer, but if you look at the icon we created, when the T and the F is joined together, it can form into like an hammer shape, which symbolizes shaping and crafting technology. So that hammer, we don't really like make a rationale about it, but you can impute it under T and under F, saying when the T and the F comes together, they form like an hammer, which is used for forging stuff. But created rationale separately for T and F that would explain hammer separately under them. Then the spark, which suggests creativity. So 3 rationales only. Anytime I sign this voice now, I'm seeing Buhari and Tinubu. Can you see this guy? He plays the hammer stuff inside of the spark. No problem. As far as the client is going to see what we're talking about. So let's go for T. and here we have letter F also. Wow. So with everything we have done now and the ideas you have heard me speak the voice notes and everything. I wouldn't like to start reading everything we have here because of our time. So which of these three icons do you think that you can stick for? If I'm going to go for, I'm going to go for this last one because it really embodies what I think the brand stands for. So anyone you think, you can just put it in the chat box. So like for example, I'm going to type number 3. So number 3 means you voted for the third one. Let's hurry up with that. So if you think we should go for the third, second, or the first one, you can just tap in the chat box and let's move on. I'm not saying you use your mic. I'm waiting. Please let's be fast about that. We are in democracy. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Do what I said. I'll be coming back to check it. Yeah, isn't it because they just pay you? Is the only one person that is responding? What's going on in this class?
Sorry, I'm not hearing what you said. I did not hear what you said. That's why I've not responded.
I said,
Can you repeat what you asked us
amongst the
to
three
do,
logos, which
please?
one would you want us to go on with? This I'm saying is raising thumbs up. Type
Okay, I
in the
want us
group,
to go with the one
bro.
that has C and F. The one that has C and F.
Can you see the chat box? Are you seeing my chat box? I said
Okay, let me check the chatbot. Let me check the
the first
chatbot.
one represents number one. This shield is number one. The gear is number two. T and F is number three. Anyone you want, just type the number in the chat box. That's all. I stand up, went and came back. Only one person. What's the minute? See, if you don't want to be in this class, just leave it. All of you are going for the same thing. Hope you are not going because I went for this that number. So if I should ask you now, all right, well, this guy was speaking before. Who was speaking before? Precious Charles, Abi. I think they want to speak before. Why? Let's say you're the client now. What made you want to like select that third one out of the three?
Please show us the picture of the logos again. Show us the picture of the logos
Yeah, I'm
again.
showing you the pictures. So why would you go for the third one out of all the two? I'm waiting for you, please. I don't have enough time, please. I really want to cover ID.
Okay, the one I choose is this one that have C and F, and why is because that is the initial of the
Branch,
company, of the
right?
TechForge company, and again it has a charge symbol,
Okay.
a positive charge symbol on it.
All
So
right.
that's why I suggest for that one.
All right. Thank you. So, here's the reason why I went for the last one, right? Me myself, why I went for the last one. So, if we look at the first one, though there's a rationale behind each and every one of them. But when somebody sees the first one, what comes to your mind first? Like me, if I should see is a shield, what comes to my mind mainly is like maybe a security agency, right? But these guys, they are also providers because, as you know, they are an IT firm, all right? So they protect people through cyber security also, all right? And they provide other tech sphere, all right? Then the T and F is there, but it's not really visible, all right? But it's still okay. Then the second one is just a gear and a spark. As you can see in our first rationale, no, in the brief, the client stated that they didn't want something that was generic, and a spark was part of what they listed, right? Basically a spark, just that, right? I think that's one thing that will also bring, though there's a spark in the T and F also, and there was is it a spark or a gear? I think it was a gear. Let's check the message. I think they pointed out that they didn't want like a gear. Where is that stuff? Yeah, avoid cliches like lights, bulbs, and gears. Right. So the client obviously stated it here that maybe they don't want a gear, even though we still made it an option for them to like move on with. Then they wanted an abstract and geometric shape, right? Abstract and geometric shape. So we created like an abstract T and F, and instead of just keeping it as a T, I had to like do some extra stuff at the body, and then the rationale itself also explains it deeper. All right. So since we have all this, now we have the brand option. So the next thing I'm going to do is that since the clients are selected, let me see our votes. So it wouldn't be as if I just went on. She said she will go with the gear and the spark. Okay, that was good. So that means you went for number 2. All right. You went for
Yeah.
number 2. All right. But I've shown you
I
why.
didn't know there were consideration.
Yeah,
If there were consideration, because usually you always go with the customer's needs
yeah,
after
yeah.
elucidating the needs. So, but the reason why I actually went for it is, first of all, it's unique.
Yes.
Yeah, it's different from what um most people use. Yeah, the uniqueness,
Yes.
and is less common.
Mm.
Do you understand? Then secondly is the relevance, but since the customer said
They don't want it here.
they
Yeah.
didn't need that, so I'll leave that aside.
Aside. Right.
Then third is the scalability,
Yeah.
like
So that when you
for
put it on a bigger
further,
platform,
yeah,
yeah, or e-commerce
innovations.
platform, yeah.
Yes.
So these are one of the things that we have to look out for when designing a logo: the scalability and the uniqueness, because it's the uniqueness of the design that will determine how long this client can use this kind of, like this one now, this first one now. If that is selected, my mind is telling me that the brand might choose to like have a new vision which doesn't have to do with shield and stuff, and they will have to redesign, right? But if we're looking towards the T and the F, unless they change their name, right? Unless there's a change in their name, that's where you might want to now bring a new brand. But this Gear and Spark, whether they change their name or not, is still going to work. That is if it is within the scope of what the brand is standing for. All right. So when we are done with this and we now send it as a PDF, so the one we sent to the group yesterday isn't the one we are supposed to send to the client. We're supposed to send to the client the ones that has these rationales, right? What explains each and every aspect of the logo, so that they will understand what they are really selecting. All right. So when now that we have the final one that we want to use, so what I'll basically do is that I would now delete all these other ones that I don't need with tears, but it will still be, the folder will still be saved inside, because I'm going to save this in a new. Who is sending me a message whether I'm using correctly? Who is this man? Please leave me alone, I'm busy. Alright, 1, 2, 3. So we have our selected logo. So meaning we might not even really need to like just type the name at the front anymore. I'll use the complete logo at the front. So I'll ungroup this. There's something I want to do. Edit, copy properties of the feel of this. So I'm bringing it upwards. Let me see. I'm going to add. Is this nice? Why? My mouse is giving me issue this morning. So I want it to have like the color of the brand. Yeah. So I'm bringing this one forward. Alright, Ctrl X. See, it's a bit dark. It's not really having the color of the brand. Actually at 50. So how I did that, let me go over it again so it won't look as if I did magic. So when you draw a box, alright, you can basically copy the entire color of another object that you give a color by just clicking on the box, saying edit, copy properties from, right? So that you can copy the outline color if it has an outline. It doesn't have an outline color, as you can see, or the outline pen. So what I need is the fill. So if I click on OK, I can copy the color. There's something I saw, there's an hint I saw. You may copy while by dragging one object onto another using the right mouse button. Okay. Alright, copy properties. That's good. So if you don't want to go that route, you can just drag the particular icon using your right click and dropping it on the box, and it will have that color. No. Copy all properties. That's it. So Then what I did next was, this is a transparency tool, all right, transparency tool. So if you click on the transparency tool, you can make this stuff to look more transparent by tapping on this uniform transparency. This is 50%, right? So if I say like 90 degrees, 90, it will get more transparent. But that wasn't what I did. So it was still at no transparency, right? So this is no transparency. Then I used merge mode and I click on add. So if I click on add, if I put it on top of this now, you see like a different color. So it's like adding, let's say the color of this is pink. If I put it on top, it's going to like change the color of this stuff entirely, right? So that was what I did. Then I had to like power clip it inside the box. This stuff is still looking too shiny. Let me make it 60. Okay. So that's for our background. So now, since the background is having this color, right? Because when designing the logo, you see the logo in the main color, and would also see it in like other kind of colors. So we can be able to like make this white instead. You can use white all through for TechForge. So let me place this there. What do they call it? Tagline. Tagline might not be on everyone. It just depends. I don't want it to fall near that C. I'm going to look off. I would have started from here, but it's going to look very off. So let me keep it at this side. Are you semi-bold? Let me see. I think this is better. TechForge, and we are ready. I do. So a brand like this, so when we are done with this, then we now tell the client that okay, now we have selected the particular icon we want to use. So now it's time for us to create a brand guideline. Now, depending on how much you charge and depending on how the deliverables that were agreed. Now, under the brand guidelines, sometimes we might provide the clients with flyers, business cards, ID cards, and everything, right? So I have like my various kind of combos, right? So there is a basic combo, there is standard one, and there is the most expensive one. So depending on what the client is paying for will determine what you are going to deliver. Now there are some clients that they don't even need any of all these things you're talking about. All they just need is the logo design, right? But because most times I like to like go out of my way, I'm going to like create like mock-ups on shirts, on cups, on bags, so various merchandise that's going to show how this logo is going to look like in reality, right? Even on their social media accounts, how it's going to look like. So that's what we'll be doing until we finish this class, all right? So now let's go on to another thing we're going to add before we move on. So I'm not just going to I'm going to copy something here which I call a forward. Right, so this is a forward. So instead of typing it again, so this forward is basically going to tell the clients what we are offering them inside of the brand guideline. And to create a brand guideline might take you days, sometimes some even take months, depending on the kind of materials you have to prepare to send to the client. There's one thing to first of all learn how to create icons. So but if you're still having struggle with how to create logo icons, you can watch that video. I think it's the one we did yesterday. Like, I thank God I didn't just, because for other classes what I make for them is just one logo, but I had to like make like 3 logos for one particular brand. So if you look at the steps and everything I took, you can follow up. Now you can't just learn how to be a logo designer from just one video, right? So YouTube is very open, right? So you can find a lot of videos that are also talking about logo design if that is the niche that you want to follow. But I will advise that you follow and learn design properly, right? So if you learn design properly, as you can see, my text here, everything is aligned, arranged properly, everything is aligned. So when you not understand principles of design and stuff like that, creating all these other aspects might not even really be a bother for you, right? Yeah, I would have created like border stuff, right? Let's just leave it here like this. So the next thing I'll be creating for this land is, we've already done all this, is these parts, right? So these are like brand assets, right? We call these brand assets. So this brand assets explains the text we use, the brand pattern, the color codes and stuff like that. So sometimes some brand designers might spread the colors on a separate page, spread the font on a separate page, and spread the others. But like I said, basically most times it's depending on how much you're charging on the project. So why would you want to stress yourself doing it over several pages? So it depends on the kind of client you're working on. But since it's like a mini project we are doing here in class, we just have to like stick to this kind of style that we have been following all through. I'm going to just copy everything that I've done here. Everything I've done here, and I'm going to just change the arrangements.
Oh, Josh, I still have a question.
I asked.
Because I didn't really join the class very early.
Okay.
So I've heard you mention it's like we're creating a document which will be presented to these people and they go through it, because you've mentioned the communication phase where we are creating a rationale. Now we are creating brand guidelines, brand assets.
Yeah.
So what is this whole document called?
The whole document is called a brand style guide. Style guideline.
Okay, a brand style guide. Okay.
Yeah. Or some person might just call it a brand guideline. You might add a brand style guideline. Whatever you want to work for you, but it's a guideline. So why we call it a guideline is that it directs the client on how to use the logo. Right? So like I've told you that it's depending on the package. There's some packages we are going to work on some clients and we'll tell them the do's and don'ts of the logo. So the reason we create this style guideline is so that the client will see the process of how this logo was done, first off. Then secondly, what are the ideas behind it, right? So that they will be able to appreciate what we have done for them, right? And another reason why we create these stuffs is because sometimes they may need to explain it to their clients, right?
Yeah.
So if the client doesn't understand, they can simply send them their brand guideline and say, this is what our this is our vision and this is what we stand for. And even in some brand guideline, we also include brand vision and brand statement. So it just depends on how tedious the particular project is and what you are going to include in it, right? So,
okay. So there are not listed points in the document that you must to have to follow.
And this is like what you're trying to drive. Let me understand you better.
Okay. I don't know if I can paint like as a, let me just use in tech. Yeah, in the not tech field, where like a business analyst, so you're required to create like a BRD, a business requirement document.
Okay.
So this business requirement document encompasses everything that has to do with that project.
Okay.
Yeah. So you're creating that business requirement document, which you're gonna still present to your stakeholders.
Yeah.
Yeah. That has, both the market review about the project, the considerations, um, the recommendations and all that. So I think that isn't the same with this one.
Yeah, it's kind of the
You
same.
understand? Where you're explaining everything, even the budgeting.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything is explained there in the BRD. So that's why I'm trying to relate the two. If it's the same thing that happens
They are kind of the
in
same,
this
but they are not.
business
They,
brand style guideline.
they are kind of the same, but they are not really like the same. So
Okay.
let's say you want to like sponsor an event or somewhat, and let's say you're working with MTN for a project, and they want to like make you a partner with them, but they will need to like make some brand designs for you, like for your own position. So you can, if you basically send them this brand guideline, it will make the work very easy for them on what to design and what kind of font should they use, what kind of colors are they supposed to use, what kind of, like, it's like a direction, so it's like guideline, so that
Okay.
when you employ a new designer in your firm, you can just share the guideline with them and they know
Okay,
exactly.
you can share that document and
Yes,
the
you
person can go
can
through and
understand
know.
that this is how this guideline works. All right. So yeah, I'm going to be changing most of the colors we have here. So let me go for the easy ones first. Then we'll just. I don't want to put Gilroy 2 times. The reason I did that before was I used 2 different kind of fonts for that previous job. Alright. So I'll just look for a picture that talks about tech. Uh, Tech guy walking. Let's visit free pick. Ooh, love that. So I need like, I can add blue, so that they will give me like the one that have like a blue background. This is not what I'm looking for. Sha. Let's remove tech guy. Just tech walking blue. I think this one is perfect. Let's take a picture. So you will get to see why I downloaded this picture. So apart from brand design, there's also the brand imagery, which are like pictures that can simply explain what this brand stands for. So I'm importing a picture. Where is it? So I'm going to power clip it inside. I hope you remember how to power clip. Dragging the picture with right click and pasting it in here. Fit content, fill frame proportionally. So I'll remove that orange color, but you can still see it there. So our colors for this brand is this blue and this blue. colors, then black and white. So this has like given us an opportunity to like create extra app icon here. This thing are just basically boxes, right? It's just boxes. There's nothing too complex about it. Boxes that you can curve around.
The boxes are they the ones that were duplicated?
Yes.
Okay.
So you just draw a box, you curve the edge using your shape tool here, and you have that. So you can just duplicate them. So in case you want to create boxes like this. So now you see the reason why we were teaching all those things at the beginning. So this time I'll be using white, but I will fill it with two colors. Because the background is kind of white and it's not really helping with us. That is great. So I wouldn't just leave this lady's picture this way. I'm going to fill it up with something. Let's copy it like this.
There's a shade of a tint of blue right behind her.
Yeah, I know. That was why
Can it be used?
that was why I downloaded it. This is what I want to do. I want to use this background inside of the picture. So you're going to see how I'm going to use it. So here's what I mean by it. So I'm going to draw a box. I'm going to cover this page. Oh no. Let me use this one instead. So I'll power clip this picture, this box inside of this background also. So I'm dragging it in, power clip inside. So edit power clip. So here's what I want to do. I'm going to like transparent this box a bit. But this time it wouldn't be like the uniform transparency. I'm going to use the fountain transparency. So I'm going to like transparent it from here like this. So I'm going to like see the brand color on it. So you know there's something power clip inside, which is this letter T. So I'm going to copy it. Hold on. Let's check. So this C that is inside here, I want to copy it. Control C. And I'll go in edit power clip, paste it. Then I can reduce it in size. So it might not be really visible because it's kind of a dark color, so I'll change it to white instead. Then the transparency can reduce it to 90. Let's get back to the power clip.
I think you need to come again. No.
Wow. Just hold on, I'll come
Like
again.
you said, power clip inside the picture.
Alright. So here's a box, alright. The box doesn't have a color yet, right? So I'm going to say edit, copy properties of what color? Of the logo, right? So it has an outline. So I've taught you how to remove outline. I'll remove the outline, none. So now I have to power clip it inside of here, right? Because this picture is also power clipped inside of this box, right? So the reason is that I want the picture to like have a feel of the brand color. So I'm going to drag it inside, and the way we power clip is to drag the picture with right click. So if I drag it, place it inside, I'll see power clip inside, right? So it covers the whole image. So I want to go, so if you want to go inside of the power clip, because you can't edit power clip from outside, except you are clicking here, which is edit power clip, and it takes you inside. So it's same thing. So but if you come here and you come down, we have what we call select power clip content. We have extract it is to remove it, and this one is to lock. So if I say select, I can only move them, and I won't be doing anything to them. But what I want to do is edit. Edit means to edit what is inside. So you can either right click and you see edit power clip, or you just tap on it and you come down here and you will see edit power clip. Now you're inside of that box. Alright. So now if I should keep this box like this, you won't be able to see the image at the back. Alright.
Yeah.
So here we have transparency tool. So if I tap on the transparency tool, if I should use uniform fill, you would see it like this. It will just be a bit transparent. So if I say 90, it might be more transparent like this, and this might also work, right? But I said that is not what we are doing, right? Now for the former one, the one where we created the background for the opening page, we used hard, right? So if I use hard, this is what is going to happen. But that is not what I'm trying to do. So I want to create what we call a fountain transparency, which is the transparency will look like a gradient, right? So if I click on fountain transparency, I will have something like this, right? Something like this. So the transparency is coming from left to right, left to right. So these things are not static, right? You can rotate them. How can you rotate it? You can drag this black box, move it around, then bring this white one down, right? So it's able to rotate. If you don't want to go that way, you can just type here at this top here. Let's say 45 degrees. It's going to turn that way. Let's say 90 degrees. It's going to turn that way, right? So whatever one is like easy for you, minus 90, it's going to turn upside down. All right. So if you are not still comfortable with how the color is, these stuffs here, they can be moved, right? We can move this upwards. We can move it downwards, right? This stuff can be bent also. So everything here is for you. Like you can change them to fit what you want to do. All right. So that's what I'm talking about. Then instead of just ending there, we can now add like, you know, inside of this background. If you look at this background, there is like a letter T and F. That is the logo. We placed it inside of the background. So I'm going to go inside the same way and copy it. Edit power clip. I'm copying this F. Control C. Then if I'm done, I'll click finish editing power clip. Depending on the kind of CorelDRAW you are using. So for 2018, this is how we edit and finish power clip. So I'm going to go in here, click on it, then right click, say edit power clip, and paste that F. So this is the F. I'm moving it closer here on the design. So it's just for like brand continuity. So if I use blue, it wouldn't really show. So I'm going to make it white instead. Then I'll reduce the transparency. It was transparent at 95. So let's see how it will look at 70. I think 70 is much. Let's make it 80. Then when I'm done, I just have to click here. I'm done. So we can see this image here, just like this. So it's a picture that is showing a lady that is working using the computer, talking about tech. Then still has the brand color and stuff like that. So this like this now can be transformed into like a poster. So let's say as time permits us, well, we want to create like a flyer for this particular brand. I might just use this lady's picture and create like some social media simple poster that can be used. Now, this aspect I want to create now is called a brand pattern. Brand pattern, something like this, right? So where can a brand pattern be used? The brand pattern can be used on mock-ups. I didn't really use the brand pattern of this brand on their shirts. So let me show you an example of let's say brand pattern on a shirt. I hope it's on Google. On a shirt. So the brand patterns, so kind of like patterns, something like this, like even a Gucci. If you wear a Gucci shirt, like a hand, this is an example of a brand pattern. Using the logo icons to create a pattern that can be branded into. So you see some companies, they have their logos. Let's say, I think I'll prepare it here. So they have their logo, and then you see a pattern that represents them also. So how is this patterns created? Most times this pattern can just be, let's say, the icon. The pattern can be basically the icon, where we just repeat the icons, in duplicating the icons, that way then we are creating a brand pattern. But I think that is like basically too easy, right? So if I'm creating my brand patterns, I don't do them that way. So what I do basically is I break the logo apart, especially logos like this. I break them apart. So this logo is grouped, right? So we can break it apart by clicking on break curve apart, right? So now these things are now separate items, right? They are now like separate items. So I would like to have that spark inside of the brand pattern also. So just pay close attention, you will understand what I'm doing very soon. So like this, I can now decide to, like, instead of having them to have all these fountain fill colors, I'm going to use the brand colors, which is just this blue and this blue. Should I include black? Let's see if black will work there, and this baby pastel blue. But this baby pastel blue might not really be noticed. Will it really be noticed? I think it's too mild. Alright. So I'll reduce this one also. So most times creating a pattern is very, very hard. Sometimes you have to think and think until you come up with something that you feel, okay, this is okay for the brand. So you just have to, yeah. So you just have to connect these stuffs in different way. Let me see if this is okay. So I can leave this way. I can even rotate it. Let me see if I rotate this.
It's better straight.
Better straight. Alright. So let's hold this together. So now that I have this, I can group this together. Ctrl G. And now I can duplicate.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is what a pattern looks like. So I can just decide to turn it upside down so that it wouldn't look as if it's the same thing we are doing all over again. So I'll make sure they are aligned. And when I'm done with that, I group it again. So duplicate again. So it's when you keep duplicating that you now start seeing the beauty of what you're actually doing. Yeah. If you don't really, if you want to find out more about how people create patterns, you can like check. There are a lot of YouTube videos on pattern tutorials. But this is one of like the most easiest way I create my patterns. when designing for clients. So you can, like I said, you can decide to like use the logo, the full logo as a pattern, right? But that is not really nice most times when you're using it for, let's say you want to put it on a shirt or on their business card or whatsoever. So this, like this now, can be a border. You can use it as a border when creating their business card. You will see that I'm going to try those things out, and you see how it comes out. So I might choose to change here. Wow, I'm liking this already. Where you will now appreciate this more is when we start making mock-ups. When we make mock-ups today, so I'll duplicate more. So these things now, let's say the company, let's say maybe it's a Nigerian company. I know most Nigerian companies on Fridays they wear like native wear, right? So this kind of pattern can be printed as maybe their Ankara, right? So it should be owned by the company. This can be like if they have like gift boxes that they give out, can also be printed as their wrappers, and it's created from the logo that we just designed. All right. So I'm going to duplicate this. The reason I did that is I want to place it inside of here. So I'll drag it inside, power clip inside. So I'll edit the power clip and delete the former one I have there. So this was the one I did for another brand before. So I can make this actually bigger. Like this. Okay, if I leave it so small, it might not really look fine. Yeah, I think I like it like this. This is okay. So page 2, I'm going to create a page after this. So I'm going to show you how the pattern would look on a white background. Power clip inside. And now it will look on the black background. So on the black background, we wouldn't be seeing the black aspect, we'll just be seeing only the white. Alright, so we have like 2 brand patterns. I need to create a new page for that. Let me just divide the page into 2 equal parts. Half of 11 should be, I think, 5.5. So I'll make this one black. So the client can see it when it's on black and when it's on white. So this is like the pattern. So it's shown here also. So the job is looking like it's almost done. They're not done. So here is like icon buttons in case they have like on a phone when people download it as an app. You can display them here. That blue is just shining in my eyes. I don't like it. Okay, so now we have to get to our colors. How do we select colors? This one is already, everybody knows this already, right? So on group, if you don't know how we do all this color stuff, you can check in our color theory videos. But I'm going to do it here again. So now, another aspect that is very important in the brand guideline is the colors that we use for the design, right? So we have to like tell the clients the colors and not just say it is blue, right? You can't just say it's blue. You have to like give it an X code or the RGB. There are some clients they ask for the X codes, the RGB code, the CMYK codes, right? So that when they want to print, they will know what color they have to convert it to. But most times we just need just the X and the RGB. So how do we get the X code? When I click on this blue, I'm seeing the X code here, which is 00FFF. But you can't copy it, right? So if you can hold the number on your brain just copy it 1, 2, 3, 4, F, F, F. So the X code are basically there are 6 most times, right? So the same thing. I think there's no RGB here. So let's get the RGB. I think it's just normal blue. 00225. So if you are not sure, you can come to the fill here and find out here 00225. So that means red in this color is 0, 2, 2. Is it this blue that I actually used? Let me check. Let me check the logo. What colors was mixed? So this blue is. I said it's not the blue I used. The blue I used is this color. This one is what? 008EF. I would have mistaken now. So how do I get this color? I'm going to length it. Why is this thing flying away? Okay. So I'm going to make this one a single color FN F11. So instead of fountain fill, I'll use a single color. So okay. So this is not the blue I used. So I would have made a mistake, very grievous one. In fact, I've made the mistake already. The blue is it. Yeah, Jesus Christ. Okay. Then this one, the color is, let's go FN F11. So I'm going to change the main color to turn to this one. I've actually done a very big mistake. This is the actual blue that was used. Let me change this. That is the color in the pattern. There's a particular blue that's not supposed to be there. How didn't I realize this before? That's small. So what we have to do is just we ungroup this. Jesus. Ungroup. I'll delete all these other ones because I can't start going to ungroup then one. Hey, no, not ungroup all. Yes, ungroup all. You are the reason for life. So really all that you I'll copy the original blue. Yeah. So all I need to do is just yes, I don't resign. They work for code. So that code hub, I would say they call them now. Not the code that. Code did the name sharp, but I can enable science. I'm not sure. They just buy a laptop self. This person they work themselves truth. When they work as backend developer. I go answer, but I'm not sure of the name. So I'm duplicating this stuff. No. This is a new company. They don't sack you. After I come and finish this class. Let me see. Was this how this stuff was looking? I think the dots were looking at each other. Abby. So let me check the first one. So I prefer the arrangements we have already. I don't want to stress myself creating an arrangement. Okay. So the second one. Shows that Samsung will be user. I'll pay you when I make up. So me really who don't give me play with you through everything. Ctrl G. Sell that phone. You will not give me your share. You will myself, you will give me shares now. Alright, so I've created the pattern. I'm going to duplicate it. Just like we did for tomorrow. Type sheet. I'll group them, Ctrl G, center, Ctrl G, and cut, Ctrl X. I won't drag this time. Let me delete, paste, P, and it comes to the center. I choose to make it bigger. Yes, now you can see it's showing the full color. So the same thing I'll change here also. Edit power clip. I'm going to delete this one and paste this new one. So this is a brand pattern basically. Not like the small white space that I showed. Alright, so if you want to now see how much job you have done, so this particular job now can end like this. Let's say you have a client that, okay, let's say we don't have a lot of budget to like go forward to like create mockups and stuff. We just want an icon. Right, you can just stop here. You view your whole page by clicking on page sorter view. So we can stop and see everything you've done. So page 1, which is the front cover. Then we have a forward page that says, hello and welcome to our brand guidelines. This guideline assists you with the following elements. In order to maintain consistency across all our materials and logo application, it is important you read this guideline carefully to understand the rules of how we communicate with our audience. By sticking to these guidelines, we create a recognizable and uniform look. So the reason we create is so that anywhere you see this brand, you will know them. All right. So anywhere you see like an MTN brand, you will know it even without being told, right? Because there's something about that brand that unifies it. Their colors, their texts, their brand patterns, right? So even though we do not see anything about this brand somewhere, once we see this brand pattern, we'll be able to recognize it. All right. So it's already after 1. All right. So I'm glad that we have gotten to this point already. So I wouldn't create anything much again. You can see the font type, right? So yeah, the font, I wrote Gilroy bold before, but I'm going to just remove bold and make it just Gilroy, right? Because we'll be using the Gilroy family. So let me put Gilroy family completely. Not leave it at Gilroy. If you see it, you know it's the Gilroy family. All right, the Gilroy family completely. So whether you are using the bold, so if you click on Gilroy, you would see the complete family font, right? I have the whole complete family font. So for whatever design we'll be making for them, we won't use any font in no circumstances. So when we start making other designs now, you start understanding what I'm talking about. This is already serving like a poster that can be made on their page. So you will see it now very soon, very, very soon. So I think I will stop here. So let's check everything from the beginning all over again of what we have created so far. So here's our page 1, which carries the face of the brand, right, and their motto, right? So the designer that made it, Beloved Designs 2024 brand style guideline. Now there are various ways a lot of designers create their own brand style guideline. Now you can check online. So research might be one of the things that will help you so much when you research. So we'll make a forward. Now another thing we can make, if you are reading books, there's something called an outline, right? So I can't create an outline right now because I don't know what I'm going to fix into this design. So at the ending I might put an outline, but most times the outline is not really important. Where you say outline, where you point out page 1 has logo variation, page 2 has blah blah blah, you can fix that in. All right, so depending on you and your own package, right? So forward, this is a forward to tell them what to expect inside of the brand. Now here is like an outline of the icon that was created, right? Which we created, I believe we designed it together. I would have added like a sketch, the sketch that we did, but I don't think that's necessary. You have if you want to see the sketch, it's in the WhatsApp group when we sketched it, and the ideation that brought up this design and how we selected the design. In the video you will see that we voted for it, right, and the reason why. So here is TechForge originally. So this is like a combination mark, right? So remember in our first class we talked about types of logo, where we did a logo mark and a combination mark, and this kind of logo now would categorize it under abstract, right? Abstract. So if it was just letter T and F, we would have said that it is a letter mark, right? So if it was just TechForge, we would have said this is a word mark logo. Now if it was just the spark, we would have said that is what do we call that? You see, icon logo, or I think it was icon logo. I'm going to check it. The 7 types of logo. I've forgotten this a particular. If somebody remembers it, you can say it. Like when you talk about Twitter, Apple, the example I gave, that when you see them, you know the kind of iconography, I think. So, but now when we now bring different elements together in abstract form, right? So this is like an abstract logo, and when we now mix an abstract logo with the brand name, what we have created is a combination mark, right? So that means this brand went for a combination mark, and from what they told us, they wanted a modern logo which is simple. It is TechForge, right? Technology has to do with computer and people working and stuff. So another designer might have gone and bring the computer screen and stuff like that, right? But since we are tilting towards a simple logo, right, we decided to like use just the T and F and the kind of icons they gave us in our brief to come up with this. Now we now explain it, right? So these are the 2 basic, the most important parts of the logo. Then a full rationale on it. This rationale is taking so much space. So if the client wants to read it, they zoom in. Let's make it smaller. Here is our logo rationale that explains every aspect of the logo and why it was used in the logo. Alright, so if you look at when we talk about the hammer and stuff, you find them here and understand what we did. Then this is the variation, right? So we told you that a logo does not need to be static, right? It shouldn't work in one way. So in a letter heading, we might choose to use this one at the top. In a business card, we might choose to use just this. On a shirt, we can choose to use just this. In fact, the logo can be used in various ways. Alright, so the logos most times do not need to be static. So that's why we create variations and show it when it's small. As you can see, it's a bit smaller than this here, but you can still recognize it. That's why it's a good logo, right? Then we now move to the brand assets, right? The brand assets, where we show the clients the logos, how it works on various backgrounds, right? That was why we showed it on this white background, on the gradient background, which has the blue, the two primary blues, then a fainted blue, then black. So here is our color. My God, we have not fixed this color. We're going to do that before we close. So let's finish. Let's finish with our color codes. We have not finished with our color codes. So I think we've done this one. Okay. So to pick the color of this, when you click on the box, we go to interactive field to tap down. You can copy the color from here, Ctrl C, then come back here and paste it. So the RGB is 078240. So somebody can remind me of this. 078240. Then let's copy this also. So it's 0138239. 238 139 0238 0239. So 138. Nah, it's by this class, they won't see anything. 0138 239. Then the color for this one is, copy it. Two 216 Am I correct? 233. Let's check it. 216228. Then 253. 228 And this is the color code for black. There's no need changing it. This X code for black is 000. RGB is 000. Then white is 25555 and FF. So let's continue. So we have the font type. So wherever these people want to type something, it has to be this particular font. They wouldn't change any font. It is going to be this font. No other font is allowed. If they want to use a display font, they are going to use Gilroy Black or Gilroy Heavy. If they want to use the body, it's going to be Gilroy Medium or Gilroy Semi-Bold, right? So that is what is going to unify the brand. Then we now showed the pattern, the brand pattern, which I created here in class using the TechForge, right? Then also finally, there's the brand imagery, how their designs are going to look like on their social media or maybe on their flyers. So their logo, their pictures are going to use must definitely have a touch of blue, and also maybe the radiant color of the brand, then a touch of the logo, right? So I don't want to write any words here. So by tomorrow, if we create our business card, letterhead and ID card, if we have enough time, we can now create some flyers, right? Some social media flyers that's going to work with this. Then after we have done that, I mean, today is Wednesday, so if we can finish that up tomorrow. We can now do some mock-ups on Friday. So we'll use that Friday to introduce a bit of Photoshop, where I'll show you tools that are used for editing images and cropping out pictures and editing them, and even the mockups we are going to be using. I'll show you how I create my own mockups, edit them on Photoshop, and bring them back into CorelDRAW. So here we now show the pattern in black and white. Then basically you can choose to stop here. Like I told you in the beginning, that if this is where the brand, what the client can afford, we can just stop here and say a very big thank you to them. I believe that if you follow all the videos that we've used so far in this class, to recreate everything I've done here will not even really be like an issue for you. Though it might be hard, but with consistency you'll be able to finish it. Now I'll show you one tool that we are done. But let's say I want to add like a bright shadow at the back of this. I might not use it, but look at this. There's what we call a drop shadow here, a drop shadow tool. So like, there's a lot of tools here we have not explored. So you can check them out, but I want to show you this one now, which is called the drop shadow tool. So if I click here, there's a lot of shadow. If I click top, left, right, these shadows anyhow. The one I want to use is a small glow. Now the glow I want to give it is a white glow. So I'll use my color eyedropper and just click on my screen because it's white that is here. Or I can click on the color itself, right? So it's having like a glow, but the glow is much, so I'll reduce it to my Gaussian blur. Then make here like 60 instead. It's looking much, and let's say 15. So there's like a blur at the back. So I'll show you more about this blur, but I don't want it. I'm just showing you it for now. So let me remove the blur. So these blurs can be, this Gaussian blur, this shadow can be removed by tapping here, clear drop shadow, and it's gone. So I wouldn't export this PDF until when we are done, so that we'll get, or should I send this one too? Okay, let me export this particular one also. So I'll be sending them bit by bit so that you know where we have worked and reached. So instead of option, let's just make it design. Client show up. So before once you export, make sure you check it most time, because sometimes some colors might go and change. Alright, so you check the PDF before you send to the clients, check for any mistake. And see this background, see how the background changed. I'll leave it like that for now, sure. By tomorrow I'll convert that background to a bitmap and export again. So it's looking all right for now. So this kind of brand now, this kind of one, if I'm charging a client, let me know how much I charge. All right, I'll send it to your WhatsApp. Unless when you need my service, you know how much we charge. All right, so here is your group. As your group always ID. So I'll be ending the call now so that I can you imagine that so that I can send it to your YouTube account, so you can go over everything we did today. So I will see you guys tomorrow. So just bear in mind, tomorrow what we'll focus on will be how to design an ID card, business card, and a letterheading, what it will be for this brand. All right, so that when you get a client that maybe it's not your client and they are designing a logo or a business card and they showed you that they have a logo already, so you can know what you will request and how to come up with the ID card for them. So see you guys tomorrow. Do have a lovely day. If you're at work, do have a powerful work. Bye.